the rest of the weekend, and we'll do dinner, and we'll chat it up. But right now, we're going to get serious. So I hope y'all got some pens and pads, and you're ready to learn about how you can continue building your queendom, but you have to be well in order to manifest that. Okay? Nobody in here can escape natural law. Okay? There is natural law in place in everything that you do. And when we talk about self-love, and I love the two women that came up before me because they really set the perfect foundation. Because we can't really talk about growing a queendom without that self-love. And self-love has everything to do with the choices that you make every day, not only in your finances, but in how you nourish your life. Right? Okay. So Cordell would have me up in here. Y'all to eat the cake and the gummy bears and everything. Got the champagne popping. You know, I mean, she would do me like, this is cool. This is cool. I'm not an extremist, and I think that some people would, follow my stuff. They go, oh my God, how does she do that? I don't know how she eats like that. I can't do it, girl. And I think that people would assume that I'm an extremist, but for me, I see things from the back end of the spectrum. I talk to women every day who are having their entire wombs removed, their entire breasts removed. Their children are on 12 different medications before they're 16. Okay? So to me, that's extreme. You understand? So it's extreme to have to go and cut off, medicate for the rest of your life just to survive. Okay? So that's an extreme. So remember that, as you're making your choices. So I'm going to talk about a few things, and then we'll end with a Q&A. Is that cool with y'all? Because that's really what I like to do. I want to talk to you personally. I want to answer some questions. All right. So in going back a little bit, I myself was raised eating just about everything. I was fortunate that I was eating grandmama's fresh, organic, everything from the garden. And I moved to the city with my mom eventually, and I started the habits. I started eating bad. I barely drank water. I was drinking soda every day, Kool-Aid every day, ham sandwiches and cheese and cereal and oatmeal cream pies and all that, noodles every day. Average American standard diet. My family wasn't wealthy. I ate whatever we had. So in time, I ended up with the issues. The urinary tract infections came because I was dehydrated. I had to eat water. I was drinking soda. I would faint all the time. I have a scar on my chin for life because I fainted at least 5 times. I fell on my face because I would just pass out. And then someone would come and give me Sprite to revive me, which I don't know why that makes sense. Anybody know why that makes sense? But that's what they would give me. To this day, my mother doesn't claim that she do it. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Okay. So, in time, I think maybe when I hit maybe 13, my family said, we've got a pretty little daughter, and little boys like her and everything, and she's real flirty, so, maybe we'll just secretly shoot her up with birth control. And I remember they called me out of church choir one day after I was singing church choir. And my grandmother was a nurse, so she got all the goods. And she sat me down and pulled out a needle, and they shot me up with what we know as Depo-Provera. Y'all know about that? A mess. Depo-Provera is a mess. That's some scary stuff. If you really look into it, you'll see. We don't have time to get into it today, but I've heard several doctors say, well, that's something that we use for undesirables, what we used to use for poor people for birth control method, Depo-Provera. With lots of side effects that I experienced because of that. I wasn't even having sex, so I was really pissed. Later, once I put this, why did you do that to me? And, I got just didn't want you to bring the babies home, right? So, years later, my own sister actually ended up having ovarian cysts and having to have her entire womb removed. And this affected me deeply. And so fortunately today, even after what I experienced, I waited. I worked on my business, I worked on my career, I worked on everything. And I just had a baby, so my child now would just turn 10 months old. Thank goodness he was here and safe, sound, healthy, and awesome. But I'm so proud of him. But yeah, it has led me to start the fiber elimination campaign. And if you guys have been following any of my stuff, you know, we've got the 90-day fibroid elimination group, fibroid elimination group on Facebook. Follow. There are over maybe a couple thousand women there who are sharing their stories of healing their fibroids naturally. All right. So we just went to print, you guys. Last week we released the fibroid elimination recipe guide in print. You can find it on GoShedAhki.com. Check it out. You can also find it here today. We have a few copies, and then also, of course, we released the electric Modern Guide to 900 Foods last year. So you guys can still get this ebook or print. GoShedAhki.com, and we have some of those as well today. But I want to kind of go into this a little bit because right now, what's happening with Black women is really, really disheartening to me. So when I say that the womb is at war, I really mean we are seriously at war. All right, we're talking about 600 million hysterectomies are performed. 78% of all hysterectomies that are performed are on Black women. 78% on Black women. Most of those, half of those hysterectomies are due to fibroids. Okay, and then the others, ovarian cysts, tumors, PCOS, endometriosis, you name it, we got it. All right. And people are trying to understand why is it so disproportionate? Why are Black women suffering from reproductive disorder more so than anyone else? And there's a plethora of things going on. A lot of it really is just lack of knowledge and something that I like to call the assumption of health, the assumption of wellness. Let me tell you, I had a client call me a couple weeks back, and in the consultation, I always ask, tell me what's going on with you. Tell me, what is your reason for the call today? What is your concern? And she said, well, you know, the doctor told me, for the most part, I'm healthy. You know, my doctor said I'm healthy, and my cholesterol's this and that. But you know, well, I really don't sleep, so I have been taking something to help me sleep. But for the most part, I'm well. And I said, oh, well, how long does your cycle last? You know, it's so heavy. It lasts for sometimes maybe 10 days. And, you know, sometimes actually I don't go to the bathroom. So I have been taking something for that because I might go to the bathroom maybe once a week. But, I'm getting better. But I've been doing that my whole life, you know. But for the most part, my doctor says I'm well. And I said, you know what, sister? First of all, we got to get down to some understanding here. Let me tell you something. If you're not going to the bathroom, you are not well. That's the first thing. Imagine a sewer system being clogged up for a whole week. Imagine it's in 98-degree weather in your body, and your intestinal tract is 12 times the length of your damn body. Okay? We're talking about 30-something feet of intestinal tract in 98-degree weather. You are not well, sweetheart. You need to go to the damn bathroom. Okay? You need to sleep. Okay? You need to sleep. If you can, I know some people, I always say, if a person who could just nap when they're sleeping, that's a good sign of health. You need to